Board members want to make a motion to approve a special assessment in the approximate amount of $25,128,948, as shown in the mail. Andre made the motion. Is there a second? Second. Okay. Is there any discussion among the board members regarding the assessment? Hearing none. Any questions from the audience regarding the assessment?
Okay, my name is Tina Aaron, 436, 234, 437, and I just would like it documented that I disagree. I do not want the assessment. I feel there are things in there that are not unnecessary at this time in our lives due to construction costs, due to shortages, due to people having financial trouble. Right now is not the time for people to be able to secure loans. There's too much going on right now. We are going into a hurricane season that we were just warned. That's going to be a very severe hurricane. There are a lot of things on there that were not passed by the people, and I understand that we need to read the governance, or, excuse me, sir, what were those documents that you told me to read?
Governing documents.
Okay, and there are things in the assessment that shouldn't be there, that are frivolous, such as a guard shack and landscaping and contingencies due to the fact that we do not have exact contracts with closures and stuff like that. I know I'm not a good public speaker.
That's fine.
Are there any other questions?
Does anybody else here back me?
Yes.
All right, I will ask if there are questions. Thank you.
Here.
Sir.
Oh, go ahead.
You're the lawyer, I just want you to affirm, and each individual board member, that they're gonna make a vote today going beyond the state law of Florida. It's very
Don't talk
particular
over
about
the lawyer.
passing
Don't talk
and
over the
having
lawyer.
rules and having laws. Our documents, I understand, require 55% of everybody that owns
50 plus
to
one.
vote on it.
Okay, I'm gonna repeat your question,
You can't talk
and then I'm
over the
gonna
lawyer.
answer it, okay? So, and if I paraphrase, if I'm incorrect, please tell me. So the question is, he's asking me, as the association lawyer, and the board members to agree that they are doing something improper, not in accordance with the governing documents in the state law. That's basically what you said.
No, he didn't.
And that's incorrect, and I'm gonna try to explain, and this may answer a lot of your questions, all right? So the board is here to pass a special assessment. Primarily, look, there's a lot of things involved. We're talking concrete restoration, we're talking roofing, we're talking painting, we're talking balconies, a whole lot of things that we're talking about for the special assessment, all right? What is being confused by those who want to cause confusion is that there is a difference.
That's not a fair
between
remark.
the board voting on a special assessment to do required work and the membership voting on material alterations, all right? Now, I agree with you, owners have a right to vote on material alterations. Material alterations are changing the color of the building, changing the railings of the building, all right? These types of things the owners absolutely have a right to vote on, and the owners will vote whether to keep the existing brick railings or change to a glass railing or change to a horizontal railing. That will be decided by the membership. Whether to keep the existing paint color or change to a different paint color will be decided by the membership, all right? However, those membership votes have nothing to do with whether the work needs to be done. Whether we reinstall brick railings, glass railings, or aluminum railings, the railings have to be reinstalled. Whether the building is painted this color, white, yellow, black, or green, the building has to be painted. Those differences, those changes to the material, to the common elements, have nothing to do with the actual work that needs to be done. So what the board is voting on here today is a special assessment to do the work. Those items that need to be voted on by the members as to whether to change something or not, those items will be voted on by the members before a decision is made which way to go. But the vote here today is to allocate the money to do the repairs, which need to be done regardless of how the membership votes on the material alterations.
I was told
No, you
by a
can't.
couple of my
I'm
legal
gonna fucking
friends,
argue.
not officially, that if you repair the catwalks, for example, then we do not have a vote in there. If you were to change them out, that's a direct change in the common element of this.
I agree. The board is repairing the catwalks. They are repairing.
Take them down.
Repairing the catwalks.
You're confused.
You're confused.
And rebuilding them the way they were originally built. That is a repair.
Full of shit.
Any other questions?
Carrying them the way they were.
Yes, ma'am.
Get up and read that.
No, he's gonna ignore me.
So people hopefully-
My name is Michelle Mastrocola. I own 2 condos in this facility. I don't disagree that we need our elevators done, our roofs done, blah, blah, blah. What I need this verbiage to be correct, because I was informed that if I decide to do a payment plan, my future buyer can assume that future assessment as a line item. I need that confirmed, because there's a lot of he said, she said, baloney going on, and I want the facts. Okay, just wanna make sure the verbiage is correct.
So confirming that the payment plan for a special assessment will be assumable by the new owner, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, we need the terms. We need the terms.
We need
that
to,
you-
and it's a line item, okay, that's my 1. 2, I'm not agreeing on a 20% increase cushion in these repairs, as all you're doing is telling somebody, hey, you have an extra $2 million to spend, and that increase or extra should be 5%, and that increase should only be for the increase in the product to do this, not on a profit for these estimates. I'm a business owner, everybody's a business owner, if I'm gonna price something and I shortchange myself, that's on me. That shouldn't be on all these homeowners.
And so the question is, why is there a 20% contingency? It should
When
only
the
be
cost of inflation is
5%.
only 3-5%.
And the answer is,
Okay.
there's a very simple answer. It may not be an answer anybody likes, but it's a simple answer. And if anybody has ever been involved in concrete restoration in Florida, you know the answer. You budget $1 million for concrete restoration, when they're done, it's $2 million. I mean, that's just the way it is when it comes to concrete restoration.
There's one on every item.
That's why there's a 20% contingency in
Okay,
there.
but
There's
that
one on every
increase should
item.
only be the cost of goods increase, not on their profit. So we would get a slip saying, okay, concrete a year ago was whatever, $10,
I'm gonna talk
now
nice.
it's 12.
I'll
Then
talk
we would
nice.
pay based on the increase of the cost of goods to do the project, not on their profits. That verbiage needs to be clear, and I don't think it is.
That's between the association attorney that handles the contracts and the contractor. And while I don't necessarily disagree with you, I think we all agree with what's going on in the world and, prices. Nobody knows what the prices are gonna be or what the increases are, so that's all I
And again, I
can
think
tell
the
you.
verbiage, and even 10% might be, 20% is extreme, however,
Nobody knows
that's
what the
something we can
prices are.
discuss.
How'd you come up with
My
a
other
goddamn
question
budget?
is, we have Carlos, you're our so-called manager here, and we have, I'm sorry, I don't mean to insult anybody, and then we have Maya as well. I'm a little confused with, okay, we get our roofs done, roofers come in, blah, 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 they do their job. We have our elevator company come in. Between you and Maya, I think that, Myra, sorry, we should be able to manage that within our own association.
I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna stop you right there, all right? Managers, and again, no disrespect. I'm a licensed manager. I was a licensed manager for 20 years before I became an attorney. Managers are not qualified to oversee that kind of work, period, end of discussion.
Okay. Wow. All right. Fair enough. So I think, again, those two.
Thank you.
The 20%.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. You said the contingency on the concrete, sir, Mr. Pearl? Okay. So,
Are you listening?
hold on. So you said that the concrete was a contingency because of concrete. Okay. Why do we have to have every single item with 20%?
Yeah.
I mean, you can, excuse me, you can order a generator, get it delivered. You don't need 20%. I work for Generac. You
Okay.
deliver, install. I'm just giving you an example. So why? I asked the board last night, sharpen your pencils, give something back to the people, okay? Give something back, negotiate. You're an attorney, you do negotiations all day long. That's all we're asking for, to get a reduction in the cost. These people are paying $1,200 a month. That's all we're asking. And you can sharpen the pencils and make it a lower amount and still do repairs. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? I'll take
See, he
one
just
more-
ignores
I'll take These last two questions, go ahead, Jen.
My name is Nikki Rose at 724B. I am worried about the catwalk. I really do, because if you drop those catwalks like they supposed to do, you're going to affect the structure of the building. Not only that, you're going to affect all the pipes, all the water pipe inside the walls. And I am at this point, I don't think we should drop them. They have to be repaired, but not dropped.
Okay, thank you.
More or less of what you said. I think that the catwalk should be repaired and not destroyed completely, right? And so I think that most people must agree on that, because it's a tremendous effort, it's a tremendous sacrifice, because most of us, we have to go to a hotel for 1 month and pay our own. Okay, now, because so many
Ma'am, do you have a question?
we don't have another house. Sir, the other question is, have you searched the banks already under this financial situation? Is there a bank that is going to loan you 25 million at this time? I don't think so, but let me, no, but let me tell you, if you can reduce the amount and do the most important things, the elevators, the roof, what else, the repair of catwalk, something like that, right? We have another idea, to repair and should repair many things that are necessary, okay? You can ask for a loan for a lot less, and we will have the money, and we can do the job.
And to answer your question, yes, there was a bank that will give the association a $25 million loan. So we're gonna call the question, do a roll call of the question, all board members in favor of the special assessment?
No, we have to say that we're not.
I have a question. What's your address?
We have to go.
We're all coming to your house and staying.
No, okay, you have to say,
We don't have a
we're gonna
place
ask
to
all the
live.
people who are against special assessment, because it's being recorded.
Vincent,
Yes, I approve.
Andre, Manny,
Yes.
Robert, Richie.
Yes, I approve.
Thank you.
Excuse me. No, I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna
What was
go
that?
over this
How many in
bullshit.
favor? 7? Unanimous, okay, so there was a unanimous vote in favor. The special assessment is passed. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn, second. All in favor?
1 second, 1
This
second.
meeting is adjourned. There is another meeting that is gonna be reconvened in 1 minute. I don't know if anybody needs to take a break or not, or,
Yeah.
okay. So,
Are you doing this because it won't be in the minutes?
I'm sorry?
Are you doing it this way so that it won't be registered in the minutes?
So what won't be registered?
The next meeting, why are you closing this meeting? Why don't you make
Because
that-
that's the way it was noticed. There's another meeting and it's gonna be in the minutes. Still gonna have minutes.
I wanted to ask you guys who's opposing and put that on the record. He won't let me. No. How about if I stand up and say, anybody recording this, how many are? I gotta see.
I'd like to call this board of directors meeting to order. I'd like, Secretary, will you attest that the necessary notice of this meeting was posted 48 hours beforehand?
Yes, it was.
I'd also
Only
like
22
to
million?
approve, oh.
Then let me say 22.
Roll call, please.
Andre. Bobby Bug. Here. Manny. Richie. Here. Vinnie, and the secretary here. Ronnie.
Yes.
And Diane. On Zoom.
Thank you. Okay. I would like to, ask for approval of the prior meeting minutes, the April 26, 2022 meeting. Will someone give me a motion to approve? All right, Benny, thank you. And a second? And Richie second, thank you. Anyone opposed? We're all, or do we, I'm sorry, do we vote, do we agree, are we in agreement? Thank you. Okay, now I'm going to turn this over and Howard Kroll, Association Attorney, is going to chair the rest of the meeting.
Thank you, Ronnie. So, folks, we're gonna go over each item individually. The board's gonna take a board vote on each item individually. You will have an opportunity to ask questions on each item individually before they take a vote, okay? So bear with us. So, the first item on the agenda is for the board to approve a loan with City National Bank in the amount of $22 million, and plus fees and interest. So is there a board member who wants to make a motion to approve a loan with City National Bank of Florida in the amount of $22 million plus fees and interest? Anybody? Okay, Manny makes a motion. Is there a second?
Fees and interest.
There's a second. Okay, so the motion is on the table. Are there any comments or questions from any board members? Okay. Any questions from the audience? And I'm gonna ask for questions, not comments, please, but go ahead. Wait, man. His hand was up first. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, question, you mentioned the $22 million plus dollars, plus fees and et cetera. What are these fees, et cetera? Why don't you specify it, because
We're gonna
you
go
know,
over
all
that.
those fees are negotiable.
Well, you're right. So the
So why don't you mention them?
question was, what are the fees and interest? All right?
Yes.
And
All the other numbers.
If we were going to discuss that, that'll be, each one of these are going to be discussed separately. So the answer to your question is yes, there are fees and interest. They have been negotiated, okay? They will be gone over today.
You just asked for a vote for 22 million plus fees, but
Yes.
you didn't mention the fees. So if that's a separate vote, you shouldn't be having the plus fees.
Well, no, that's the vote we have on the floor, the terms.
So
and
we have no
conditions-
clue what the
Let
fees
him
are.
answer the question. You asked him a question, let him answer.
Hey, he's not answering it.
The information was in the mailing that was sent to everybody, as far as what exactly the fees and the interest are, as a matter of fact.
When were they mailed?
It was part of the list of the special assessment items that were sent to you.
When? 'Cause I didn't get it.
And give me one
Where's that thing
second.
that came up with the,
And
Before
what
you
we
say-
have here
$900,000.
is-
Oh, I don't have
Excuse me,
He's
please.
answering your question.
Please, let me answer your question, and, you know, everybody doesn't talk to me, everybody hear me. So, if you look at the information that was sent out in the mailing, there was a loan origination fee of 0.5%. The interest is 4.87% interest fixed for 10 years, and the interest is reset in year 11. And those are the fees, and interest, in regard to the loan. So I hope that answers your question. In the back, yes, ma'am. Yeah, you, I'm talking to you. The one just stood up.
just
Yeah, you.
a couple things.
It's rude.
I have run a rebar concrete company. Have we gotten an engineering report on what will happen to the structure of our building when we go to remove these? And I'm okay as long as we don't compromise the structure of this.
The question is, do we have an engineering report regarding the removal and
Yes.
replacement of capital?
What it will do to the
The answer
structure.
is absolutely, of course.
Where is
How
it?
many?
Where is it?
Wait,
Let him
folks,
answer.
we're not gonna have shouting, all right, we're just not gonna have it. All right, so the question was, do we have an engineer report regarding the structure of the building for the removal and the replacement of the capital? And the answer is, of course. How could the board undertake such a job?
Where is
How could we even get permits
Where is
without
it?
an engineering report? So the answer to your question is yes.
Okay, and has anybody considered, instead of removing this concrete, going over it with fiberglass?
Okay, I will tell you that the board has considered a lot of things.
Okay.
Probably not going over with fiberglass, but again, as you're probably aware, there's been numerous meetings and this has
Okay.
gone over, so,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
All right. Another, the way in the back, sir, yes.
I think it would be prudent if Robert stood up and gave us an explanation of how the loan is actually gonna work. Are we gonna draw down on the money? Is that gonna affect our monthly payments? How the contingency is gonna be handled at the end of the project? What's going on with the people's money who paid in full? What happens if there's anarchy here and 100 homeowners say they're not gonna pay their fees, and it goes into foreclosure? I think we need some clarity on all those issues.
Okay, so the question is for some clarification on how the loan is gonna be handled, the repayment, that sort of thing. What happens if owners don't pay? I will let any of the other board members answer if they if they wanna add to this, but I will say again, the information was included.
Oh, come
in the mail.
on.
Why are there groans? If the information was included for you to read, why can't you read it?
Those things
That's
were-
why we're
Then
saying-
read it.
Why don't you read it to us?
There's no documents backing it up.
If 100 owners decide not to pay, and after proper notice, do not pay, they'll be liened and foreclosed on, just like anybody would.
And
for
who's
any other
handling the
non-payment of
foreclosure?
adjustments.
Who's handling the
So-
foreclosure?
I'm sorry?
Who handles the foreclosure?
Is that
The
you?
law firm.
Is that
Okay?
you?
And let's assume, and how is the law firm gonna settle the foreclosure?
Sir,
Am I
that
gonna
has
have
nothing to do
a
with-
fire
that has
sale
nothing
of
to do with the bank
75?
loan.
Am I
So
talking or are
we're
you
not-
talking?
I understand, but the issue on the table now is the bank loan. All right, there's a motion and a second for the bank loan. We will entertain questions on the bank loan. Hang on, you spoke already, yes, sir, all the way to that.
I just want to make sure, are we dealing with fixed rates on these loans? Because interest rates and inflation is here.
The question is,
6 months
is it
ago,
a
we're
fixed
looking
rate?
at 9 and 10.
The answer is yes, it's a fixed rate of 4.87% for 10 years.
What was the 3.5 before you said?
No, it's been 4.87, that's what it said. The 0.5%.
Where's the other 3 million?
Origination fee. Maybe that's
He
the
said 25. What's the?
Who else has a question? Anybody who hasn't spoken yet, then I'll get to you two folks.
He said.
All right, so I see 2 hands raised, these will be the last. Yes, ma'am, you haven't spoken yet, I don't believe it. I'm sorry, sir, I'll go to her first.
Why is the board not following the engineering report that we were given a copy of? It says rebar corrosion, 1, non-visible, 2, minor, some, but concrete repairs will suffice. Why are they removing the catwalks? Yeah.
Because that was also one of the ways to repair all this according to.
It's not
the engineer.
repairing.
Sir, yes, sir.
Going back to the loan, you have a 10-year where they're gonna revisit our loan. Do you have, most loans that I've dealt with in the real estate business, after, if it was a balloon rate, that, whatever the increase or decrease of the mortgage is based on a certain factor. Do you have those factors?
The thing that'll be reset is the interest rate, it'll just be reset in year 11,
Yes.
okay? And obviously.
Based on what? That's what I want.
But it's based on, and again, well, yeah, I'll answer your question, but again, I just want to reiterate, all right? Please, when you get home, take the time to read the documents that were sent to you, because it's in there. I will read it from the documents that were sent to you. After the 10-year anniversary, the interest rate will be adjusted to the prevailing 10-year U.S. Treasury rate plus 210 basis points
Wow.
with a floor of 4.87%.
That's a lot of money.
That's
And the
crazy.
monthly loan payment will be adjusted at that time. Also taking into consideration, and correct me if I'm wrong, any prepayments will go to pay down the loan. All right, so for argument's sake, let's say we have 10 people or 50 people who decide to prepay the special assessment in one lump sum. That money will be used to pay down the loan, so there is less capital and less interest on that remaining capital throughout the term of the loan.
Okay, just a follow-up on that. With the 20%.
He said 25.
Contingency.
Where's the other 3 million? Didn't he say 25?
If it's not
We're
used, how are we
paying
gonna use
interest
that?
on that 20%.
Yes.
About $2 million roughly, if you look it all up, or?
I don't know what the contingency
Ridiculous.
is.
So we're
but-
paying interest at.
And the contingency is not that much, if I'm not mistaken.
It's not your money.
There's a contingency on the concrete restoration, and there's a contingency on the roofing. I think that's the only place where we can come up.
And every item, every item.
We're not gonna have yelling. We're just not gonna have it.
$5 million.
What are you gonna do, spank them?
Yeah, if you look at it, there's a lot more than just those three.
Everything, the entire project has 20% on
If
it.
you were listening at the town hall meeting, it was explained how the monthly payment works. And every special assessment, when it ends, has one of three things that's going to happen at the end of the special assessment work. You're either going to be on budget, you're going to be under budget, and if the association is under budget, the association will need to do a refund back to those owners who paid in full and adjust the monthly payment going forward. And the third option is, if an association is over budget, they'll need to reassess. We explained that in the slides, if for those people who were paying attention. There are three options that are gonna happen at the end of the construction period.
You asked about interest on the contingency.
Wait a second, you're
We were talking
confusing-
about the interest on the
again-
contingency.
Again, ma'am, you're confusing, there are two sides of the equation here. There is the side of the equation of the association and the financial institution, and then there's the association and the unit owner. There are some associations that elect not to provide any conduit of financing and just say, here's your bill, you figure it out, this is what's due. The
This price.
payment at this point is amortized, considering that we would spend the entire amount. But again, if you were paying attention, is that at the end of the construction period, is that the actual versus budget will be recalculated, and unit owners will know whether we were on budget, or under budget, or over budget. The first chance that there's going to be an adjustment to what an owner pays on that side of the house is going to be when the work is finished.
Hang on, wait, let me hear from this young lady.
I thought we only needed $50 million, not 22 million.
Okay, thank you.
No, it's not thank you, it's just.
Okay, go
How
ahead.
come we're going for $22 million now?
It's all listed there. Go ahead.
What does that mean?
People are going to give you $75,000, and you have about 40, they give you another $3 million.
As I just said, if we get, for argument's sake, $5 million from people who pay $75,000 up front, the $22 million loan turns into a $17 million
But we've been
loan.
ripped up before.
I'm sorry?
I said, we have been ripped up before, and I don't want to be ripped up again.
I don't blame you
That's
for
the
not
way it
wanting to be
looks.
ripped off. Go ahead, ma'am, yes.
Is there a prepayment penalty on the loan?
No, there is no prepayment penalty on the loan.
Okay, so I have two questions that follow this. So if there's no prepayment on the loan, and going forward, it's, said that, all right, we're not gonna do this, we're not gonna do this, we're not gonna do this, we don't need this money at this time, how will the assessment be adjusted?
Well, I don't think anything on this list of work to be done for $22 million, for $25 million is going to be said that we don't have to do it. That's why there's a special assessment.
Yeah.
Everything on that list, the intent is to have it done.
Okay, so we'll just go with the intent then. My other question is on the loan itself. So I'm not a financial person, it's at 4.87% for 10 years. And then it says that there's a 210-point basis, and that the rest of it makes me think that the loan could never be below 4.87, and that there will be at least 2.1% added on. Okay.
The first part of your sentence I agree with. the loan can never be below 4.87. It doesn't necessarily mean that it'll go up 2.1% at the 11th year.
Okay, so what does the 210?
And again, it's as I explained earlier, it's gonna be based on the US Treasury rate plus the 210 points, whatever that is. If for argument's sake, the Treasury rate is 1%, well, it's gonna be 1% plus 2.1% is 3.1%, but the minimum is 4.87, so it'll be 4.87%. If the Treasury rate is 10%, it's gonna be 10% plus 2.1%, which is gonna be 12.1%, that's what the rate will be.
Okay, so I have another question on the loan.
Last one.
Okay, if, let's just say that the interest rates go low, just for argument's sake, okay? And they go down to like 2%, maybe in 5 years. Can we renegotiate our assessment to get a lower rate?
I doubt it, because this is a fixed rate loan for 10 years. We can ask the bank, but they're certainly under no obligation.
I have a
Last, wait, I'm gonna take, last question right here, go ahead. Yes,
Just a
ma'am.
quick question.
Okay.
Just clarify it, because you keep saying 25 million. What is the actual loan amount? Who signed it?
Okay. The special assessment was for 25 and some change.
No, I'm
If
asking the
not
loan
mistaken.
amount. Go ahead, please.
Let me answer your
Please tell the
question.
people.
I'm trying to answer your question.
Okay.
The loan is for 22 million. That's what the loan is for, 22
Right, so where's the
million.
other 3 million you
It's
gave?
coming from reserves, operating, whatever. Where?
Go ahead.
The extra 20%.
Go ahead. Robert, tell us, thank you.
For those people who were at the town hall meeting, is that the special assessment budget is for 25, the loan is for 22. There was a survey put out there regarding asking people how many people would pay in full. We had a substantial number of people who offered to pay in full, meaning the 75,000. We need $3 million to cover the gap. After that gap, we would not be borrowing from the bank. So if $5 million was received, $3 million is gonna cover the gap. $2 million would be $2 million less than the association would borrow from the bank. So unfortunately, with all the contrived controversy is that there have been a lot of people that have pulled back from their commitment to want to pay in full. That's just going to cause additional strife in trying to pay these vendors and everything, and that'll need to be addressed.
Thank you.
All right. So there's a question and a motion on the floor to approve a loan with City National Bank of Florida in the amount of $22 million plus fees and interest. All in favor? Or all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Diane, can you give us a thumbs up? Is anybody opposed? None opposed, that motion passes unanimously.
We don't have Diane.
The next, she gave a thumbs up, we did ask her, but thank you. Next item is a motion to approve the terms and conditions of the loan documents as they may be revised by council. Is there a motion on the table? Okay, motion second. Second by Ronnie. Any questions from the board regarding that? Any questions from the membership? I'll get to you in 1 second, ma'am, because I think we've sort of pretty much discussed the terms and conditions, but yes, ma'am, in the back, you had a question?
Okay, on the construction note, are we paying interest when we acquire the money or as we draw the money down for the projects? That's a big number.
No, it is as we draw.
As we draw. Okay, thank you. Construction
All right.
loan. Thank you.
All in favor of the motion to approve the terms and conditions of the loan documents as revised by council, say aye. Diane, give us a thumbs up, please. Any opposed? That motion carries. We need a motion to approve the corporate resolutions which are part of the loan documents. Is there a motion on the table to approve? Is there a second? Any questions from the board? And before I ask if there's any questions from the audience, just so you know, there are certain formal resolutions that the bank requires as part of the loan documents. The resolution says that the board pass this in accordance with the governing documents and opinion of council and all that kind of stuff. Those are the corporate resolutions which we're talking about. Is there any questions from the audience? All in favor of the motion to approve the corporate resolutions which are part of the loan document, say aye. Diana, thumbs up, please. Any opposed? That motion passes. Next is we need a motion to approve the collateral for the loan as outlined in the loan documents. I'll explain that to the membership in a minute. Is there a motion on the table from the board member? Is there a second? Okay. Any questions from the board? For those, for the audience members, just so you're aware, this is standard language in a bank loan document that if for some reason the association doesn't make the required payments, the bank has the authority to directly go after the unit owners for not paying, for the association not paying. It's a technical thing. Obviously, the association is going to pay, but that's just what the bank requests. So, any questions from the audience on that? Yes, ma'am.
Will we be made aware of if the?
If there's a default, will you be there? Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
will we be notified by the bank, or how will we be
I
notified
would-
of the bank if
the
we
bank
come
has
in
to notify
arrears?
you, yes. It's not gonna happen, but yes, the bank will notify you.
Listen, we've been through stuff that you wouldn't believe, okay?
I understand.
So what venue would we, as people who live here, be notified? And at what point would it be? Would it be past the point of being able to do something legally?
No.
You can't ask him that.
Okay.
One last question.
He's not,
Yes,
he's not
ma'am.
our attorney.
I want to know, is that going to change the payment because we're borrowing more money?
No.
No?
No, not at all.
Another thing, do we have any apartment that delinquent?
You have what?
Apartment that not paid their HOA?
I'm sure you do, but that has nothing to do with this, but not very
Why
much.
not? We should
But-
put a
but
foreclosure on
that has nothing to do with the question of the loan documents. That's a completely separate question. All in favor of approving the collateral for the loan as outlined in the loan document, say aye. Diane, thumbs up. Any disapproval?
I wanna know who signed the loan.
The next question, I'm sorry, the next motion we need is to approve the signatories of the loan on behalf of the association. And we need a motion to approve the signatories for all loan documents to be Ronnie Gibbons, Vice President, and Vincent Traina, Secretary.
They signed it.
Is there anyone other than those two that will make that motion? Motion second? Number of seconds. Any questions on the board? Any questions from the membership?
I do.
Yes, sir.
Quick one.
Go ahead.
In the document that came out today, requesting the check up front, the check is to be made out to the Gardner Village. That's where the check is going, $75,000. Where does it go after it gets to Gardner Village?
Goes into the bank account. And
How do we know? How do we know it's in the bank?
Oh, I mean, how do you know it goes in the bank account? How do you know any check you send to the association goes?
Wait,
Let me answer your question.
And also, answer the whole thing. When we draw a check, who is going to be responsible for the amount that is drawn? Is it these two?
No.
The signatories.
Let me finish your question. These are the people that are gonna sign the documents on behalf of the association required to secure the loan and any other paperwork that's needed. The paperwork is like this, as you can imagine, it's very taking out a home loan, all right? The paperwork is like that. These are the people that are gonna sign those documents on behalf of the association, okay? As to how your money comes in, goes out, all that sort of thing, just generally, all right? Any payments to the contractors will be approved by the association engineer before it goes to these people to sign, all right? So that's the way that works, okay?
What?
Last question, yes, sir.
Yeah,
That's not good.
I know you're asking a lot of people questions here in the house, but can you ask the people on Zoom if they have questions as well, please, on when you get on the same topics that you're asking us?
Yeah, I don't know if we even have communication.
There are
with
people
on
that have
Zoom, to tell you
questions.
the truth. Chuck, can we hear you? Can you hear us? Can you hear us? But we can't hear you. Yeah, so I'm sorry. You read what? Go ahead.
It's a 6 payment option totaling $7,500.
Is the fixed payment option still available? Yes. The payment up front, yes. Is the 6 payment option to pay the full amount up front with no interest still available? The answer is yes.
What is the early payoff penalty, if any?
There is no early payoff penalty.
What if you have a homestead, can your home be taken away?
What if you have a homestead, can your home be taken away? For association assessments, the answer is yes.
Dominate these questions. They're stupid. Some of them.
If the contingency money is not spent, will there be a reimbursement?
If the contingency funds are not spent, will there be a reimbursement to the owners? As was explained previously, there are 3 options at the end of the special assessment. You're on budget, boom, done, all the money is spent. You're over budget. Hopefully by that time, however long this process is gonna take, if we are over budget, there are other mechanisms to have that money. If not, at that point, there would be another special assessment, but that's down the road. That's option 2. Option 3 is, there's a special assessment for 25 million, the work gets done for 24 million, there's $1 million left in that special assessment fund at the end of the project. What happens to that money? 2 options. Option 1, it's refunded to the owners in the same proportionate share that you paid it to the association. Option 2, the association uses that to offset future assessments. And that's a decision that's up to the board at
See,
that time.
we're not gonna get it back.
Oh, so we're not getting it.
We're not getting it back.
There's waterproofing, including in painting, yes.
That's wishful thinking.
We're almost done with questions from online. I apologize for the online folks for not getting to these questions earlier.
Do we have any permits for over? Any permits?
Do we have any permits for the work? I don't think we can get permits until you have signed contractors and they produce the plans and produce that to the county or the city as part of the permitting process. So I would say we don't have any permits yet, but once we have contractors, we will.
Could you just follow up on my question?
Is that it? What was the?
No, just to follow up on the question. You said that for the money going out of our account, it's gonna be completely up to the engineer if we hire.
No, I didn't say it was, I did not say that. No, I didn't. I did not say the money going out of your account will be completely up to the engineer. I said the engineer approves the work,
Yeah.
then the checks come to the board, and the board signs the checks. So it's not completely up to the engineer.
Not what you said, sir.
Last question.
One
No,
question.
go ahead.
One question, are we going to open a special account just for that, just for the?
Yes.
Yeah, because
Yes.
that should not be
Yes, there will be
mingled,
a
this money
separate,
should not be
there will be
mingled.
a separate special I said one last question, not 2.
We're paying you, why not?
Now, the HOA and the assessment, is that going to be 2 different amounts?
Yes, is the assessment, and is a regular assessment and a special assessment, 2 different amounts, 2 different coupons, yes.
There was two
2
payments?
payments, yes.
Okay.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, I would urge everybody, when you send your payments in, send 2 separate checks. It'll make it a lot easier for accounting, and if you only send 1 check, and the accounting gets screwed up somewhere down the road, don't blame us.
Will you have an automatic withdrawal and do the
Yes. That's, okay, so, wait. Go ahead, sir, you haven't asked a question yet.
Can't hear you. Speak louder. I couldn't hear him.
So the question, the question
Louder.
is, instead of paying a $75,000 just as a number, lump sum payment, can we pay 40 or 50 as a lump sum just to have our monthly assessment reduced? The answer is unfortunately no, because the only reason why is it becomes an accounting nightmare. It's trying to figure out who owes what, and that's the only reason why. So, all right, we're gonna call the question.
Wait, before
No,
you,
we're gonna
no,
call
this
the.
is exactly.
There will be more
Why
times
is it
for
Ronnie
questions.
and why is it Vinny? Why is it not Diane and Andre? Because they're
Because
physicians.
Diana's not here all the time, and you need people here that are all the time to sign checks. All right? Go ahead.
That's right.
Thank you for that. I already had a booked trip to Europe and I had to cancel that because of this meeting. So that's why I was not gonna be available. And that was why I wanted to.
I'm gonna add something to that. Wait, the other thing is, remember, we're just talking about persons to sign the loan documents. This has nothing to do with people who sign checks to vendors. This is only regarding the loan documents for the bank. So the way that the board signs checks is not gonna change.
I understand exactly what you said,
Okay.
but our choice as a group,
It's not your choice, I hate to say.
nothing is our choice anymore,
No.
period.
There's a motion on the table to approve the signatories of the loan to be Ronnie Gibbons, Vice President, and Vincent Traina, Secretary. All in favor, say aye. Diane, a thumbs up, please. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. All right, here's the next motion we need is a motion to approve granting the bank an irrevocable license during the term of the loan to inspect the condominium property, accept the interiors of the units from time to time with prior written notice. Okay, and I think everybody would agree that's a good thing for the bank and for the association. Does someone want to make that motion? We have a motion, do we have a second? Second, any questions from the board? Any questions from the membership regarding that? All in favor of that motion, say aye. Diane, a thumbs up, please.
Why are you telling her
Any
how to vote?
opposed? That motion.
You're telling her how to
is
vote.
passed. Next motion is to vote on which officers or directors may draw funds from the loan. In other words, which officers and/or directors can authorize the bank,
We need a
the
committee.
association to draw money from the bank for the loan. So does somebody, if you want to discuss it among the board, or somebody want to make a motion? of
Tina, we
which
need a
directors or
committee.
Officers can do that? Anybody have anything from the
No,
board?
bullshit.
So current signatory structure. So there's a motion to keep
Oh.
the current signatory structure in regard to payment of checks will be the same as to which officers or directors can draw funds from the loan. Is there a
That's not
motion? Is there a second? Any further discussion?
No
on the
good.
board? Any questions among the membership? Yes, ma'am.
What happens if the whole board gets recalled?
Well, if the whole board gets recalled, then we'll have to have another motion to who to authorize to draw funds from the bank.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Diane, thumbs up, please. Any opposed?
Who is authorized?
No.
We don't authorize.
Who's authorized, who are the signatories now? 5 officers of the board are the signatories.
Five, you said two before.
Yeah.
So Vinnie and Ronnie.
That's right, that's different, okay. All right, now we have to have a motion, approving the Becker Law Firm, and that's my law firm, before you ask. The Becker
We
Law
need his
Firm
insurance.
To prepare the opinion of counsel letter, the cost of that, and authorizing transmittal to the bank for the amount of $18,000. Is there a motion for that?
You could do better.
Is there a second? Is there a second? Any discussion among the board? Any questions from the membership? Wait. I'll get to you, but I want to see if there's anybody else. Well, the two of you, you're competing. Go ahead, she had her hand up first.
Is your $18,000 negotiable down to 15?
No. I will tell you, it's a good question, okay? I don't mean to make light of it. The question is, before you guys ask it, why is it $18,000 for an opinion of counsel letter? Okay? And I will tell you, the price is based solely on the amount of the loan. And the reason the price is based on the amount of the loan is, as opinion of counsel, whatever law firm issues that opinion, that law firm is going on record as saying that the association and the board did everything proper and legally. They had the authority to do what they did to secure the loan. So if something happens down the road and the association, there's an issue with the loan, and somebody says, well, the attorneys did something wrong, okay, we're on the hook. Because we're the ones that says, yes, the association did everything right. And if at the end of the day, the association didn't
must
do
have gave the
everything
same
right,
advice
and
to
somebody goes
Surfside, huh?
after the issues, we're on the hook. So that's why that amount is based strictly on the amount of the loan.
I got one last
Last
one.
question, go ahead.
How much is your insurance for professional liability? And I'd like a copy.
Okay, well, our firm's insurance, I have no idea.
Oh my God, you're kidding.
Why would I
You're
have
an
an idea?
attorney.
All right?
You should
And
know
I
this.
know you can't have a copy.
I'd like a copy.
Is there a motion to, is there a?
Oh,
All
bullshit.
in favor of?
Say it loudly again that you need copy. He's going over.
Cost of sending and authorizing transmittal to the bank in the amount of $18,000.
What kind of lawyer doesn't have that?
Diane, thumbs up,
And let
any
us know about his
opposed?
insurance.
We're almost done, folks, we'll be out of here by 3.
What is on
He doesn't know his insurance.
Last motion we need in regard to the bank loan is a motion to ratify the term sheet.
You're not giving any anymore.
Ratify the.
Unbelievable.
Your batteries ran out.
He said he won't give me a copy.
That's what he said.
I can speak loud. You guys hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. A motion to ratify the term sheet in the amount of $110,000
We gotta get rid of this
to
board.
lock in the loan rate. Is there a motion from the board on that? Motion, is there a second?
Yeah.
Okay, are there questions from the audience? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Diane, a thumbs up, please.
You're
Any
telling her how to
opposed?
vote again.
Okay, that motion passed. That is the end of the loan document question.
Yeah, we
Now
don't.
we have additional items on the agenda. And these are for, in
I'm a very
regard to
nice
the
one.
contracts for the work to be done. So, we have a motion from.
Why don't you read some
we
records?
we need a motion from the board to approve a contract with Blue Coast Construction
Unbelievable.
in the amount of $10,505,037.60. This is for the concrete restoration work, if I'm not mistaken. Is there a motion to that effect? Is there a second? Any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience? Sir in the back.
Mike Renda, 818. If we sign a contract for the concrete restoration, you said we have to sign a contract for the restoration before permits can be acquired, correct?
Yes.
What if we sign a
We already
contract?
have the permits? We already have the permits.
What if we
To
sign a
do- We have a
contract?
letter of intent to do the work.
What if we sign a contract with concrete restoration and they want to take the catwalks down? They go to the city for the permit to take the catwalks down and the catwalks aren't approved. Are we stuck with them to do the concrete restoration for repair if we can't take them down?
And again, I'm not a contractor, but I would say if any of the work, for whatever reason, cannot be permitted, which I doubt will happen, but if it does,
Yes.
that contractor can only do what the county is gonna allow them to do. So if the contract, I'm just throwing numbers out of the air, the contract's for $10 million to take down the catwalk, and they can't get a permit to take down the catwalk, we can't take down the catwalk. If we then have to repair the catwalk, and it's $9 million or $12 million, that's what we're gonna have to pay.
No, that's my point. Once we sign a contract with that contractor, we are tied in. And if he can't take the catwalks down because he can't get it permitted, we're stuck with him to do the repair for $10 million instead of getting a different contractor that can do it for
No,
$4.
all work is contingent upon permits. That's the way the contracts are written. That's the way any contract.
We're not talking.
Hang on. In the back, yes ma'am.
Terry Silent, Symington, 28B. I want to know on the concrete restoration, how many professionals did you guys talk to that didn't have a stake, no stake, could not possibly do the work, just could give advice on the work? How many people did you talk to that said, it's a good thing to take away the whole building like that, the whole landings, and take them all off? How many did you get that told you that that was okay to do? And besides this person that wants to make the money, I want to know that, did you talk to any outsiders? I would never, I tell my husband all the time, make sure you get several people to talk to about doing this before he gets somebody to do any work in our home.
I will tell you that anybody you talk to or ask to give an opinion is gonna be a stakeholder.
No, doesn't have to be. There are people out there that you could get that could not have any stake in it, could not do the work that you could get the advice from. And I want to know how many you talked to.
Answer her.
Just on the answers, there are, I think, at least 7 companies that were requested to bid on the project. So-
See, that's what I'm saying.
That's the only
You
way
talk to
know.
people that would say what they want you to hear so that they can make the most money. I think you should get people to tell you and give you advice.
That's why
outside.
The association hired a professional engineer that scopes out the work.
Okay, and how many of those did you talk
There
to?
were 3 at the time when the board actually.
Okay,
did
well,
it, so-
unless you had 10, I don't even think you should consider it.
Are there any other questions? Tina. Yes, sir.
Ask him about his.
That's a.
Please.
If you replace the catwalks on the second floor, I assume you can start low and go high.
Yes.
Money falls from Karen. I picked up some stuff from Jim.
They collapse in a seething heat. You have the flexibility, which I haven't seen from this board yet. You have the flexibility
No,
to say
yeah.
this isn't working.
Well, I don't mean to make light of your question because it's a very serious question, but if they repair the second floor and it collapses, yeah, obviously there's a problem bigger than worrying about how we're gonna finish the rest of the project. So, last question.
Can I ask, is give the same advice to Seaside?
We've had that discussion. We've had the discussion, repair, replace, we're not gonna have it again. Go ahead. It does count, and you've issued it
Put 'em on the
before,
spot.
and have other people
I'll
that
answer one.
decide it. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Tina.
Based,
Mimi, shut up.
excuse me. Based on what Mike has said,
Was it good for you?
can we please put a contingency in this contract that if the city will not issue permits for the catwalks to be dropped, even though that's against our wishes, can we have a contingency that that contract will become null and void, and we will look for another contractor? And the reason that I'm saying this is because if the city doesn't want this, and this is what the city or Steve Grossman or whomever wants, because when we had the meeting, Eli from, I'm not sure what company he was from, he started to talk about repairs. And Steve Grossman came around and he took over the whole conversation. So can we please put a contingency in there that if the city of Pompano will not issue a permit for removal of the catwalks, that that contract is renegotiable or made to be void?
298.
No, why?
Because that's.
Deceased people.
Yeah, but we need to protect ourselves. We
The
can't
contract
always
has
be.
been negotiated to protect the association. The association has used, and I'm gonna say this, and, you know, is it self-serving? Yes, but it's the truth, all right? Becker, my firm, is one of the best, let me finish, construction defect company, attorneys in the country.
How come you paid 31 million?
The best in the country. We have reviewed and negotiated those contracts for the association.
Okay, I don't wanna say this, but were you not just
In the lawsuit.
sued for 31 million because you guys were?
Yay! Yes, it was.
We had nothing to do with anything that happened at Surfside.
Why are you suing?
Then why did the judge order you to pay 31 million? Because he wanted to?
Everything that's out there
That's why he doesn't know what the insurance is.
Yeah. You ordered to pay 31
You
million.
guys were advising them, no, they didn't have to do this, no, they didn't have
That's
to do
not
that.
true.
Okay.
Not true.
But you were ordered to pay 31 million.
Stand up and say it loudly because nobody's
Yeah.
hear it.
No problem with your asking the question, okay? okay? And
I would stand up, go over there in the center and tell them.
And that is a very complicated issue. We have nothing to do with that.
Okay.
We have nothing to do with what the board decided not to do, unlike this board, which is deciding to do. All right? So, legitimate question. We had nothing to do with what happened to Surfside.
No disrespect.
That's okay. I'm taking it.
So why did your firm pay 31 million? You don't want to tell the people? You don't want to tell the people, right? I'm making that up. Oh, please. You paid 31 million. Yes, this firm.
They're a crook. They're a crook.
The judge ordered you.
None. Okay, next. Motion is to approve a contract.
They say opposed, we should all say opposed.
Opposed.
$1,774,602.50.
People heard.
Do I have such a motion? Is there a second?
Why'd you pay 31
Discussion
million?
on the board. Any questions from the audience in regard to the roofing contract?
Never saw
All in
it.
favor? I'm sorry, right? No question. All in favor?
No, there
I'm
is a
sorry, I didn't see
question.
that.
Yes, I just spoke to Michael from SPF. He said he can be here within 10 minutes if you'll talk to him, or I could put him on speaker. He said the silicone, he did not, he doesn't like the silicone over the SPF. He did quote $700 during your meeting, $700,000, but he said, I did make a mistake, I wanted to protect. It is $300,000 to put silicone over SPF. He said, I don't like silicone. I'll do whatever you want. He said, quoting, the SPF is totally sufficient. He will come in, explain exactly what I said. He's willing to do that. He's 5 minutes from here. He said, I can be here at any time. Or I can call him and he'll explain it on speaker, like I said. For $1.2 million.
The board has already been through this. The insurance company will not accept that roof covering, so.
Where's the
that's not on
paperwork?
table. Last question.
Where's the paperwork?
Is there a question, ma'am? All the way in the back. Do you have your hand up? Like, all the way in the back, did you have your hand up? Not you, behind you? No? Okay. All in favor of the motion? Diane, thumbs up. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is a motion to approve Delaware Elevator to do all the required work on the elevators in the amount of $1,872,265. Is there a motion from the board? Is there a second? Is there any questions from the board in regard to the Delaware contract? Any
What about this motion elevator for 1,200,000?
1 second. Yeah, I have a question. No, 1.8 when you can get it for 1.4. Okay, doesn't matter. They need to know. They need to know.
Are there any questions from the membership regarding the Delaware contract?
Yes, me.
Okay, well, wait a second. Relax, I'll get to you. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just saying, 1.87, then you're gonna add the 20%, correct?
Not necessarily.
It's in there. It's in the papers that Robert said. The 1.8 becomes 2.1, correct?
No, the
Robert, I'm
contract-
asking a question.
I just answered the question. The contract is for $1,872,000.
Right, but you're adding the 20% contingency.
Nothing gets added unless it needs to be added.
Okay, so,
No.
okay, so there's another elevator company that's, I brought to the board. Whatever they want to do, but it's 400,000 plus cheaper. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any questions?
Yes, it is.
On Zoom from Myron? Any questions from Zoom?
It's 400,000 cheaper.
Are all the elevators going to be moved?
All right, didn't we just redo one though? Are we doing all, how many are we doing? Carlos? 5 out of 6, right? Okay, so all 6 are gonna have new cabs, so the question, one of the questions from Zoom is, are all the elevators gonna be moved? All 6 elevators will have the cabs redone, correct?
So they just waste another
Okay, so 5 of the elevators will have the cabs redone, 6 of the elevators will have mechanical work that needs to be done. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, well, the assessments don't have any ACH.
Everything finished.
They gotta get
Turn to everybody here and tell them we have to vote about it. Tell
Will there
everybody
be automatic
so they
withdrawals
can-
for the
everybody else
assessments
knows
answers, yes?
We have to vote
If
on
not.
it. Turn to the people.
Okay. All in favor of the Delaware elevator contract, say aye. Diane, thumbs up. Any opposed? All right. Next motion that we need is for a motion to accept fire controls in the amount of $311,848.29. Does somebody want to make that motion? Is there a second? Any questions from the board members? Any questions from the audience? Sir in the back?
I have a question. My